American money has almost run out for the war in Ukraine. That's the warning from the White House as Russia's war grinds on now for almost 2 years. Where did the money go? In fact, how much money was it? What's the catch in all of this? I'll tell you this in this episode of Let Ali Show You. In October 2023, US President Joe Biden asked the American Congress for nearly $106 billion to fund the wars in Ukraine and Israel's assault on Gaza. But while US lawmakers were kind of unanimous in funding Israel's war, they largely rejected the proposed package because most of the Republicans did not want to send any more money to Ukraine. The US Senate blocked a package worth billions, tens of billions of dollars in aid to Ukraine by 51 to 49 votes, which had earlier been passed by the US House of Representatives. The American Congress has approved more than $110 billion for Ukraine since the war started in February 2022. But no additional funding has been approved since the Republican Party took over the House of Representatives in January 2023. So the accountants at the Pentagon had to become a little creative, so to speak, to get Ukraine the money and the weapons it needed to fight Russia. In June, the Pentagon found it had overestimated $6.2 billion of funding for ammunition, missiles, and other equipment it sent to Ukraine due to, get this, an accounting error. More than double the amount previously disclosed. Yes, you got that right. One accounting error worth $6 billion more. Pocket change for the American military-industrial complex that spends more than $800 billion a year on weapons and war. What the Pentagon is saying basically is that it had already sent weapons from its own stockpile worth $6.5 billion before the money allocated for those supplies to Ukraine arrived for disbursement. Now, this points to a murky process of fund approval, allocation, and disbursement, all part of the US military planning, which works in 5, 10, and even 25-year increments. What this means is that the true cost of anything is rarely ever known, because as fund allocation rolls over into the next financial year, it builds up, changes, and often increases unless the project is shelved, which rarely happens. And if you think the Americans are a bit confused as to how much money they've actually given to Ukraine and are now even reluctant to give more money, wait till you hear about the Ukrainians themselves. From an outside perspective, it feels kind of almost counterintuitive that a country that has received, some say $200 billion over the past 2 years from the outside world would be out of cash. But war is expensive. And when so much money is involved, there is always the specter of corruption. The combined wealth of Ukraine's oligarchs has in fact gone down to $22 billion. It's halved. It used to be 45 billion they were worth, but now they're half of that. The depletion of funds has led to a scramble of sorts to make money in any way possible. In January 2023, 2 major corruption scandals on government procurement of military catering services and electrical generators came to light. Ukraine's now former defense minister, Oleksiy Reznikov, one of the most prominent faces of the war against Russia, came under fire. It had to do with purchases of military rations at inflated prices. Although Reznikov did not personally sign the contract worth $340 million, many said that he had ultimate responsibility after publicly pushing a zero-tolerance policy on corruption. So they say he was kind of a hypocrite. Ukraine replaced Reznikov in September 2023 with Rustem Umerov, the country's first Crimean Tatar defense minister. On the face of it, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has himself adopted a zero-tolerance approach towards corruption. In August, he fired all regional military recruitment bosses after allegations of wrongdoing and replaced them with frontline soldiers who had been injured in the combat. But is Zelenskyy clean himself? 77% of Ukrainians polled recently don't think so. They say he, that is Zelenskyy, is responsible for ongoing corruption in the government and local military administrations. That's 77, 2/3 of Ukrainians think that. We're talking about a lot of money here. In addition to the 100 billion plus given by the Americans, the Ukrainians have received $30 billion from European states to fight Russia. That's in addition to the almost $15 billion that the Europeans have given Ukraine as economic aid over 2 years. And because so much money has already been spent in what seems like a never-ending war, American lawmakers, they say, have had enough. Linking additional funding to domestic issues like a southern border fence or Israel's war in Gaza, something even the Ukrainian president says he's worried about, losing out on the money. So where did all the money go? Let me know what you think in the comment section, and do share this content. Do subscribe to Let Ali Show You. That's it.